All right, we will be beginning shortly. Okay, how do we turn that down? All right. All right, maybe a little longer than 2 minutes, I lied. Let's see. Fuck off, man. Jesus Christ. Fucking joke. Okay. 1, 2. Alright, we're finally live. Longer than 2 minutes. 1, 2, little. Gotta fix that. Little. Alright. Okay. Now what? All right, doing a little advertising. Project TV. Let's see if we can stream that. That would be good. Yes, you can. You can stream free. Fantastic. Oh, I need an account, huh? Not a 10-play member. Guess not. Never heard of 10-play. Alright, what the heck? Ah, Australian residents only. There you go. Well, I don't have a VPN to get around it. So I guess I'm out of luck. Whoa, I just got a plug from Michael Mann. Thanks, Mike. I'm pretty new at this, so bear with the amateurishness. This is really just an experiment at this point. Let's see here. Oh. Just fritzed out on me. Okay, if anybody's there, feel free to start a chat. I also have a live Discord server, so you can voice chat as well. Just see the URL right there. It's quite a delay. Let's time that. Test. Very large delay in chat. That's not great. So almost a 30-second delay between what you see. Hopefully the chat isn't as slow. Let's see what that looks like. So it takes a good 10 to 15 seconds for a chat to show up as well. Interesting. That was about 12 seconds. Guess that's not too bad. I wonder if there's a way or a setting that will allow the stream to be more immediate. There's ultra low latency setting. Interesting. Let's try that. Can't change it, huh? Interesting. Very interesting. I have an idea. I have an idea. I think I'm going to stop this stream. Well, I guess it's too late. Had 9 playbacks. So people are checking in, looks like. All right, so anyway, let's discuss some tweets. Well, we have a chat. Jason Lemieux, question for Professor Mann. I've seen him caution against overstating the threat of climate change, but for my university class, it would seem that the worst case scenario is rarely, if ever, made clear. Well, we don't, I mean, the problem is we don't know what humans are going to do. We don't know if they're going to curtail emissions. And Michael Mann always says uncertainty is not our friend. We truly do not know exactly what is going to happen as a result of the temperature increase. We just know it's likely to be very bad. Who is Peter Domenical? By the way, Michael Mann isn't here. This is not his stream. I've got nothing to do with Michael Mann, except I'm a fan and I buy his books. I don't think an ice age is what we're looking at. I mean, who knows what happens if the Gulf Stream current slows way down. That would basically wreak havoc. Professor of Climate Science at Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory at Columbia University. Well, let's Google them. Let's see. Sorry for the delay. I have the setup on high latency, so there's going to be quite a bit of a delay between what you chat and what and my response. It's about 7 to 10 seconds or so, it looks like. I'll be reducing that in the next stream. I just found out about it. This is all pretty new. All right, let's Google this guy. Peter Demenocal. So this gentleman is making the claim that we could fall into an ice age, is that right? Is this guy your professor? He's a paleo-oceanographer who uses deep-sea sediments as archives of past climate change. Ocean sediments accumulate slowly but continuously and provide detailed records of past changes in Earth climate and ocean circulation over a wide range of timescales. I'm currently interested in paleoclimate problems that inform human dimensions of climate change. Well, I do know man is very careful to point out that we should not lapse into doomism. I mean, whatever the result is, all we know is that the best thing to do is to reduce emissions as drastically as possible. That's all we know. That's all we can do. We know that is the best approach to prevent worsening of climate change and to preventing any kind of worst case scenario. Let's see if he says anything about an ice age here. That is true, yes. As I mentioned, no one really knows exactly what the fallout is going to be. There could be some hidden tipping points that we haven't considered. Some of the tipping points I hear about are definitely overblown. So, for example, the methane bomb that would go off as a result of methane boiling up out of the Arctic Circle. That is very unlikely. No credible scientist backs that up. But it is very difficult to sort through all this. I mean, there's just a lot of bad information, a lot of misinformation. There's science that's old and outdated, so you have to keep track of that. So yeah, it's quite a chore to keep on top of it all. That's part of what I want to do with this little experimental project, is try to help sort through that. Alright, I spelled his name wrong. It looks like it's 2 words. Here he is on Twitter. Throw him a follow. Always good to see scientists on Twitter getting the word out. Okay, we've known for years global warming could lead to a new ice age. Why is no one doing anything? Alright, so this is not Menacall. It's a gentleman named by the name of Dan Kennedy. Alright, call it a cascade of calamitous events. According to scientists, a cold blob of water has formed south of Greenland. The blob's origins can be traced to rapidly melting glaciers, which in turn is the consequence of global warming. The blob could impede the flow of the Gulf Stream, which I had mentioned, which carries warm water north, and if that happens, the temperatures in Europe may drop steeply, hurricanes may become more intense, and sea levels on the east coast of the United States may rise even more rapidly than they are already. We're all wishing it's not true, Peter de Menacall, a scientist at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, told the New York Times earlier this month. Because if that happens, it's just monstrous. Yeah, let's see what the date on this is. So this is recently. I mean, I don't know if this is speculation or it's backed up by any models or evidence. Monstrous change indeed, and one that we've known about for decades. The possibility that climate change could flip and in just a matter of years plunge part of the world into a new ice age, something that has occasionally made its way into the media. Yet the world has done very little about it. Massive amounts of greenhouse gases are still being pumped into the atmosphere. The climate is getting warmer and wetter. So let's turn the Wayback Machine to January 98. That's when the Atlantic, known as the Atlantic Monthly, published a cover story called The Great Climate Flip-Flop by William H. Calvin, a theoretical neurophysiologist based at the University of Washington in Seattle. Calvin's article made an indelible impression on me, so much that I've been storing it somewhere in the back of my head for all these years. After the Times published it recently, Times published its recent story on the cold blob. I dug up Calvin's article from a library database so I could see how they compared. The match was chilling, so to speak. This much for sure, global climate flip-flops have frequently happened in the past, and are likely to happen again, Calvin wrote. It's also clear that sufficient global warming could trigger an abrupt cooling in at least two ways, by increasing high-latitude rainfall or by melting Greenland's ice, both of which could put enough fresh water into the ocean surface to suppress flushing. Flushing is a reference to the process by which the Gulf Stream carries warm water to the north, sinks to the bottom of the ocean, and returns as cold water to the south. Okay. So it sounds like speculation now. Obviously there's some scientific knowledge and credible science that backs his speculation, but I don't think we know for sure, what exactly is going to happen. I do know from reading that the Gulf Stream, they believe that it's kind of binary. It's either on or off, roughly speaking. I guess, once it really starts to slow down, then it essentially shuts down. That's my understanding. And of course, that would also mean a much hotter tropics, because the ocean currents would not move the heat up into the northern part of the Atlantic. The effects of an abrupt cold last for centuries, he wrote. They may not be the end of Homo sapiens. Written knowledge and elementary education might well endure, but the world after such a population crash would certainly be full of despotic governments that hated their neighbors because of recent atrocities. Recovery would be slow, but I think that's the biggest danger we really face, just kind of a social breakdown. Economies collapsing. I think that's what scares me the most. Alright, so let's see where he mentions, what was his name again? Not seeing that. Let's see, D or M. CAL. Alright, so let's go to the New York Times article. So that was just an opinion piece. In the Atlantic Ocean, subtle shifts hint at dramatic dangers. Warming atmospheres causing an arm of the powerful Gulf Stream to weaken, some scientists fear. Yes, I remember this article. Cool graphic. Alright, let's get to the article. Alright, let's look this gentleman up. There it is here. The Atlantic Meridian overturning circulation. Atlantic Meridional, I believe is how it's pronounced. Meridional is thus a poster child for the idea of climate tipping points. Of hard to predict thresholds in Earth's climate system that once crossed have rapid cascading effects far beyond the corner of the globe where they occur. It's a switch, said Dr. Domenical, and one that can be thrown quickly. Which brings us to the cold blob. Yeah, that's what I mentioned. It's kind of a binary. It's on and off. Which brings us to the cold blob. Almost everywhere around the world, average temperatures are rising, except southeast of Greenland, where a large patch of North Atlantic has become colder in recent years. Yeah, so anyway, I don't think man denies that this is not possible. I think what's happening is that, man is just delivering very general messages to the public. I think that's how he sees his role. Stressing the importance of addressing the issue politically and making sure that we reduce emissions drastically. But yeah, I'm sure he agrees with the possibility of drastic consequences if the Gulf Stream slows down. In fact, I'm sure he's aware of this issue. So anyway, thanks for chatting if you're still there. This is interesting. Oh, no problem. Glad to chat. So what are you going to college for? All right, so here off Labrador, we can see how waters move deep beneath the surface. Labrador, of course, is in northeast Canada. So we're diving down into the ocean. Sensors reveal the hidden workings of ocean circulation, which many consider a climate switch. Below the waves, scientists are watching for signs of weakening across the North Atlantic. Here we go, down into the ocean. Ooh, it's cold. It's cold in here. In this location, cooler waters near the surface flow southward relatively swiftly. So cooler waters near the surface flow southward. Okay. Interesting. Did not know that. 200 feet below the surface. Diving, we see that the water begins... you see the water... Oh. It's awkwardly worded. Diving, we see the water begin sinking as it grows denser. This kind of sinking is a key part of the vertical motion of the current, the engine that drives circulation. 300 feet below the surface. Around 400 feet, the sinking becomes clearer as currents angle downward. 500 feet below the surface. The water grows colder and the current slower at a depth of 600 feet or so. 700 feet below the surface. Wonder how fast the current actually is. I've read that at one time, but I don't recall. This long-term change in the delicate balance of heat and cold, salt water and fresh water that scientists are tracking. Now we are at 800 feet below the surface. At greater depths, we see currents shift direction, moving westward, eventually joining an ocean-spanning round trip. Moving westward? I don't understand that. Wouldn't they move eastward across to Greenland? Interesting. But yeah, this is definitely a concern. A change in Gulf Stream could also accelerate sea level rise along parts of the Atlantic coast of the United States. In 2009-2010, when the stream inexplicably weakened by 30%, the Northeast saw seas rise at a rate unprecedented in the entire roughly 100-year record of tide gauges. All right. Let's go back to Twitter, see what's going on. Oh, we got someone on Twitch. Please tell me the 4chan dude isn't here anymore. No, I have not heard from him. Yeah, that was a little crazy. I've never met someone who was so far deep into conspiracy theories as that guy. It was quite insane. Oh, we have a follower. That's nice. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, in fact, I messaged him the day after. I asked him, I said, no, be honest with me, was that a troll? He says, no, I believe everything I wrote. He says, truth is stranger than fiction. Which may be true, but it's not that strange. I mean, it's like every conspiracy theory he has heard, he just automatically believes. You know? I've never met anyone like that. I mean, he didn't sound completely crazy, you know, typically. I mean, don't get me wrong, he sounded crazy, but, I mean, he had his wits about him. Yeah, he could speak relatively well. Yeah, no doubt. Earthquake machines. Who did he say developed the earthquake machine? Was it the CIA? I don't know. Well, conspiracy theories. I'm not a big believer in conspiracy theories. I think the big conspiracy theory is right in front of our faces, which is the wealthy buy out the government. But I don't believe like there's any kind of deep state or secret cabal running society. That's just insane. If that were the case, they wouldn't have let Trump become president. I don't see any direct evidence of any kind of secret society like the Illuminati or any of that crap. And besides, we have, you know, hundreds of thousands of people in federal government. I mean, if there was a conspiracy going on, we'd know by now. There'd be some evidence of it. Hitler didn't fly to Berlin to the Hollow Earth at the Antarctica base. That's a new one. I hadn't heard that one. Flew out of Berlin to the Hollow. So that's maybe he's still alive. What would he be now? Like 130 years old or something? These fucks. Jesus Christ. Let's see what's going on. The opposition of McConnell and the Senate Republicans has shown that only by making some changes to the filibuster rules can we pass the Freedom to Vote Act and protect our democracy. 1889, yeah, so he'd be 132. Maybe maybe he's frozen in Antarctica. They're going to revive him. It's unreal, man. I don't understand it. One bit. It's just beyond belief what's happening. Bill McKibben, very good to see the insurance industry acknowledging just how much pain Salakshana has caused. And more to come. Not sure what he's referring to here. Well deserved recognition for this industry acknowledging just how much. Okay, so she's caused the insurance industry pain. Yeah, money can buy everything. It can even buy democracy nowadays. Ted Kennedy, before he died, warned us about money and democracy. He said it would essentially kill it. And we're seeing that come to fruition. It's really bad. I forget where you're from. Did we talk about this already? And I gotta fix my audio. It's driving me crazy. Hold on. Ah, right. Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about the flags. Alright, bear with me one sec. I gotta fix this echo in my headphones because I can't talk very well. I talk like I get confused. Let's see, let me turn this one. Test 1, 2. That's got the same problem. Maybe. Crap. When I turn on streaming, it taxes the CPU so much, I get a delay. It's really annoying. So what's going on with the German... I don't know, I forget what it's called, but they had a huge plan to shift over to green energy. Is that going well? Now, a couple of years ago, I remember reading articles about how electricity costs were going through the roof. How true is that? Buy it from America or Russia? Wow, I didn't even know we sold gas to Germany. I guess we ship it over in giant tankers, huh? I imagine that would be considerably more expensive than a pipeline from Russia. So, I think you guys also have an aggressive wind power program and solar program too, right? You have a pipeline from Russia? No kidding? Well, let me look it up. I gotta refresh my memory. It's been a few years since I read about their program. Let's see, Germany energy CO2 emission cuts. Clean energy wire, Germany's greenhouse gas emissions and energy. Test 1, 2. So let's see, what's the date on this? August 16th. Alright, so this is recent. Germany's national climate targets. Germany aims to become greenhouse gas neutral by 2045. That is aggressive. Wow, 24 more years. Alright, now what percentage of CO2 does Germany release right now? Let's see that. Germany, I'm gonna guess they are 10% of world emissions. Percentage of total CO2 released. $604.8. So 10, that's far less than I thought. So let's see, we do about 40 gigatons roughly. So you're only about 1%. Can that be right? Let's see, CO2 emissions by country. Oh, come on. Alright, Germany, 2.17%. So it's still much lower than I had thought. India, even though they're not well developed, they've got 1 billion people. Churn out 7%. Holy cows. I didn't realize China was so far ahead of the United States. 29% now. 1/3 of all CO2 is coming from China. But the problem you run into is China will point out that the United States is responsible for the bulk of the CO2 in the atmosphere currently, because we spewed out far more than they did 40, 50, 60 years ago. Very interesting. Russia is more than Germany. Yeah, so you think the 2045 goal is not possible? It set the preliminary targets of cutting emissions by at least 65% by 2030 compared to 1990 levels, and 88% by 2040. Wow. How did they get to that last 12% in 5 years? I mean, that last 12% is probably going to be the most difficult to get rid of. Huh. Country's first national climate law passed in 2019 and amended in 21. States annual reduction targets for individual sectors such as industry and transport until the year 2030. These are set in line with the European greenhouse gas emission reduction plans. Well, it sounds like Europe's far ahead of us, that's for sure. In case the target is missed or overshot, the law states that the difference will be spread out evenly over the remaining annual emission budgets of the sector until 2030 and beyond, with further targets set for 2040 and 45. The ambition of Germany's national climate targets can be raised but not lowered. Right, yeah. Yeah, I think that's a mistake. I mean, I don't care how expensive nuclear is, or even how dangerous it is. I think the risk of climate change overshadows those negative characteristics of nuclear. Germany's climate law also states that new emission budgets for the years after 2030 will be set in 2024, and that these must be in line with the goals of the law and the requirements of the European Union, climate neutrality by 2050. So it sounds like they've built in a little bit of a buffer. All right. German greenhouse gas emissions by sector, 1990 to 2019. Look at that. That's amazing. Red is energy sector. Not sure what that covers. Energy sector. I'm going to assume electric energy. 56. Yeah, I remember. I don't know. Maybe my memory's a little fuzzy, but I think they at one point had 120 nuclear reactors at its peak. Let me see. France peak number. I know they got like 80% of their power from nuclear reactors. That would be a huge drop. Maybe 120 is too high. Okay, 59 was the peak. Maybe I'm thinking getting mixed up with the United States. The United States, I think there's now about 100 reactors. How many nuclear reactors in the United States? Ninety-four commercial and 56 plants in 28 states. Oh, so 94 reactors, 56 nuclear plants. So some plants have multiple reactors. Yeah, so France pretty much still has all the nuclear plants that they had 15 years ago. So that's good. But all those nuclear plants are going to age out. But this is fascinating. So basically cut your energy emissions in half already. Industry's on the decline. Buildings, I guess that means like heating the buildings possibly. Transport, that's started to go down. Agriculture is pretty flat. And waste and other. But, should bump that up. So how many nuclear plants do you have? 6? How many of those are scheduled to close? In 2011, Germany obtained 1/4 of its electricity from nuclear energy, using 17 reactors. So you went from 17 down to 6. Wow. The figure is now about 10% from 6 reactors, while 35 to 40% of electricity comes from coal, the majority of that from lignite. I believe lignite is the dirty coal, right? No, I do not know why. Public opinion in Germany remains broadly opposed to nuclear power, with virtually no support for building new nuclear plants. Oh, yeah, sure. Yes, I would have guessed that, yeah. Fukushima. Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I think if people understood climate change, though, yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I'm not that well informed on how easy it would be to replace those nuclear power generated by the nuclear reactors. Was that right? Which movie was that? I just use that "come fight me" as a gimmick. You don't have to pay attention to it. Yeah, I put woke lib "come fight me" just to get people in here, you know. So, but if you want to fight, I'll fight you. The Cloud. Look that up. Looks like my music ended here. Gotta have some tunes. It's available on Disney. I don't think this is it. No. Come on. What's its name in German? Here we go. Die Wolk. (2006) German drama film based on the 1987 novel Die Wolk. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Die Wolk. Die Wolk. Plot: due to a malfunction in the fictitious nuclear power plant. So this isn't a documentary then. This is a work of fiction. Due to a malfunction in the fictitious nuclear power plant, Markt Ebersberg near Schweinfurt, MCA, occurs, and the whole area is evacuated extensively by the emergency management. I'm not sure what an MCA is. Let's see. Maximum credible accident. Gotcha. We had a movie in the United States that came out. I don't know if it was before or after the 3 Mile Island incident, but it was called the China Syndrome, and it was about a nuclear power plant meltdown. Let's see if we get a clip of it on YouTube. Something's wrong with my capture here. Hold on. Frustrating. All right, there we go. Let's see what freaked everybody out. Concord. Ah, the idyllic life ruined by a nuclear accident.
Du musst doch Uli heute zur Schule bringen. Was? Mama, ich schreibe heute eine Prüfung und außerdem war es nicht ausgemacht. Doch, das war ausgemacht. Mein Gott, kannst vielleicht auch mal lernen, Verantwortung zu übernehmen.
Das Leben.
Entschuldigung wegen gerade. Ist schon in Ordnung. Gibt's was ich wissen sollte? Mama.
Is this the same one? This can't be the same movie. Oh, here we go.
Zu mir, ich habe ein Auto. Das ist wahrscheinlich Mark Ebersberg.
Wie, das AKW?
Ey Jungs, heute können wir echt machen, was wir wollen. Und es interessiert keine Sau. Am wenigsten die Bullen, ey.
They look like Americans.
Tante Helga hat aus Hamburg angerufen. Wir sollen in den Keller gehen.
Nein, nicht in den Keller, das seid ihr nicht sicher. Du nimmst jetzt deinen Bruder ab und fährst los. Hörst du? Los!
Mama, ich warte hier auf Elmar. Der hat ein Auto, der kann uns mitnehmen. Mama?
Hey, what's up, Lee Spainer? We're watching a movie clip of,
Kann nicht mehr.
or a trailer of a movie that freaked people out in Germany about a nuclear accident.
Elmar? Elmar! Elmar!
All right. Oh, there you go. I learned something. All right, let's see what's going on Twitter. Oh, did I just lose audio? Sorry, still working out the technical bugs. Oh, I see what's going on. Go. Citizens for Ethics. Why is the federal government still doing business with the Trump organization? There's no good justification. Crew files referral for Trump organization to be suspended from federal contracts. I'm good with that. I wouldn't shed a tear. Dennis Herring, this sad in super sad way. President Dog, I'm sorry to say effective immediately. DPRK News is defunct. Oh no. Climate reality. Our leaders must act to prevent more climate catastrophes. The next generation depends on it. Australia fights ruling of duty to prevent climate change. Fights ruling of duty. Let's find out what that means. Canberra. Yeah. Canberra, the Australian government on Monday began its legal challenge to a judge's landmark decision that the administration has a duty of care to prevent future climate change in a case brought by 8 teenagers. This is interesting. So the same thing occurred in the United States. Not sure what the status of that is right now. Anyway, the federal court battle over a proposed coal mine expansion comes as Prime Minister Scott Morrison battles to persuade his Conservative government colleagues to commit to a zero emissions target for Australia by 2050. So Scott Morrison is actually on the good guy's side? I'm confused by that. The legal battle was started by a group of 8 Australian teenage environmentalists, aged 13 to 17, who attempted to force the government to ban an expansion of Whitehaven Coal's Vickery mine. Justice Morty Bromberg in May rejected their bid, while noting the mine expansion would lead to an additional 33 million metric tons of coal being extracted over 25 years and 100 million metric tons of carbon dioxide being released into the atmosphere. But the children's lawyers claimed a victory in that Bromberg also ruled the government has a duty to prevent future climate harm. Environment Minister Susan Ley has since approved the mine expansion. So he voted against the kids, but I guess left the door open for additional lawsuits, from what it sounds like to me. Her lawyers told a full bench of federal court on Monday that there was no evidence that the additional coal from the expanded mine would increase the risk of the global temperature increasing beyond to 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial temperatures. Government lawyer Stephen Donoghue told the 3 judges that Australia had no control over the greenhouse gases released by those 3 locations that were burning the coal, which were described in court as Scope 3 emissions. The government's appeal is scheduled to take 3 days. Wow. That is lightning fast. One of the plaintiffs, Anjali Sharma, accused the government of continuing to deflect responsibility for the worsening climate risks. Morrison last week agreed to attend next month's climate conference in the Scottish state of Glasgow, but his government colleagues have yet to approve a commitment to net zero. So there you go. That's what's going on. The rural-based junior coalition partner, the Nationals Party, debated Cabinet's draft climate policy on Sunday and again Monday, but remained bitterly divided. Nationals Senator Matt Canavan accused net zero proponents of caving into pressure from President Joe Biden. Interesting. When did we become the 51st state of the U.S.? Canavan asked. That was more of an English accent, wasn't it? When do we become the 54th state of the U.S.? Canavan asked. Australia has not budged from its 2015 pledge to reduce emissions by 26% to 28%, below 2005 levels in 2030. Despite many countries adopting far more ambitious targets. Reducing emissions is a politically fraught issue in Australia, which is one of the world's largest exporters of coal and liquefied natural gas. The nation is also one of the world's worst greenhouse gas emitters per capita because of its heavy reliance on coal-fired power. Interesting. Matt Jameson, these fools truly want a Fox, Netflix, and an MS Netflix. As if both of those wouldn't suck horribly. Tonight's news hour, the backlash to Dave Chappelle's The Closer is at a tipping point. Interesting. All right. Anyway, back to climate change. Oops. Carbon Brief Explainer, dealing with the loss and damage caused by climate change. New York Times Climate, competing forces helped the Dixie Fire grow into a monster. Created its own weather. Lore for a livable climate. There is a world of difference between a future where we depend on fossil fuels versus the future where we transition as soon as possible to clean energy. The fate of civilization as we know it hangs in the balance, and it is not too late to not save the planet, to save us. She's very good. Good speaker. I saw her on Jimmy Kimmel a few weeks ago. Did a good job of simplifying the severity of what's happening. Every year matters, and every bit of warming matters. Number one thing everyone can do about climate change is to use your voice to say what it matters, or why it matters, and what we can do to fix it, because we can cast a very long shadow. Alright, let's see what's going on with this story. I forgot about this. So this woman is well-deserved recognition for Esulakashana, Insurance ERM's most influential on climate change. Liberty Mutual, Chubb N.A., and many other insurers can testify to the determination, passion, and strategic sense of this inspiring campaigner. Congrats, Sulakshana. Let's see what's going on with this. The online resource for enterprise risk management. Ilana Sulakshana is an energy finance campaigner at Rainforest Action Network. She led the campaign calling on Liberty Mutual to strengthen its climate policies and is leader of the Ensure Our Future campaign. Interesting. Start making notes on this stuff. All right, let's see. Interesting topic. Insurance industry and climate change. Let's get her name. Ilana. Let's see, Ensure Our Future. Action Network. Her campaigning has contributed to some 30 insurance companies adopting cold policies. Not sure what that means. And she's maintained the pressure to strengthen those policies and act on the oil and gas sector. What inspired you to work on climate change issues? I was drawn to organize for climate justice as a teenager. This might be a potential person I could interview. All right, let's Google this because this isn't going to give us much information. It's more about her. Ensure our future. End fossil fuel insurance. All right, this looks interesting. Insurance companies are supposed to protect us from catastrophic risks. Yet when it comes to the largest threat to humanity, climate change, insurers are actually contributing to global warming by perpetuating our dependence on dirty fossil fuels. All right, well, let's take a look at this.
To build any new coal, oil, or gas project, fossil fuel companies need permits, money, and insurance. You may not think about insurance as a major driver of climate change, but these companies are fueling the climate crisis in two crucial ways. They provide insurance coverage for coal plants, tar sands pipelines, and fracking wells. Without insurance, these projects can't be built or operate. Insurance companies also take their customers' money, the money you and I pay for car and life insurance, and invest it in fossil fuel companies so more destructive projects can be built. Insurers know that climate change is here, and that they're on the hook to pay for the damage it's causing. But instead of ditching fossil fuels, they're withdrawing coverage from communities on the front lines of climate change. Tell the nation's leading insurance companies to put communities first and stop insuring fossil fuels.
All right, interesting. ran.org/insurance. Oops, broke my rule.
To build any new coal, oil, or gas project, fossil fuel companies need permits, money, and insurance. You may not think about insurance as a major driver of climate.
In order to build a new fossil fuel project, companies need three things: money, insurance, and permits. In order to stop the climate crisis, we need to get fossil fuels out of every industry. Especially big insurance. Insurance companies' entire purpose is to mitigate risk. But while the climate crisis is the biggest risk of all, insurance companies continue to back these dirty, destructive projects for a profit. Detected copyright audio. Stream may be down. Huh, interesting. What copyrighted material was that? I wish they would tell me. Alright, I'm gonna shut down the stream. I gotta do some more tweaking to it. So goodbye to anyone who might be watching. Have a good night.